What is up? We're here with another episode of Fancasting. Today, we're doing the film Mission Impossible Fallout. Uh, this film is like a masterpiece of action, in my opinion.
Yes.
One of the best films, 2019, right? Or 2018?
2018.
2018. Um, just Tom Cruise is crazy in this, so let's get right into his role. Who did you choose to fan cast as Tom Cruise's role?
This was a lot trickier than I thought because I was like, okay, so just a classic action hero who is like willing to go like put his literal life on the line for the entertainment of the audience. But then I was like thinking about like there's just subtle things like Tom Cruise does as Ethan Hunt, where it's just like little like one-liners, the little like the confidence he carries with himself, and I think I ultimately decided to go with Mr. Batman himself. I went with Ben Affleck. I think all right. I think I went with Ben Affleck, and I think like one age-wise, I think they're the same. I'm pretty sure they're the same, which blows my mind that they've been like in the industry for as long as they have. I think with Ben Affleck, I know he can do like humor, like he's done humorous things like Dazed and Confused and his stuff with Kevin Smith, like Mallrats, but like he doesn't even need to be that like extreme in terms of comedies. Could be more like we know he can do more subtle like tired like one liners. We see it in some of his back and forth with like Jeremy Irons and Batman v Superman. We know he's an action hero from Batman v Superman and The Accountant and uh, what's the other one? Triple Frontier, his heist film with Oscar Isaac. So we know he can do an action film, and I think like even especially in that film and in his Batman role, even in Justice League, the theatrical cut, you see him kind of like carry himself effortlessly as a leader. You see him as a guy who can easily like take control of the situation, and we see even too in his most recent role, The Way Back, where he's basketball coach. The he has the attention, he has the authority, but he has also this like down to earth quality that I thought, especially in this movie, that made Ethan Hunt so much more cooler. Like he didn't feel like Superman. He felt like just a guy who was just doing everything he possibly could to save the day. So ultimately, I think Ben Affleck would be a great pick. He's my choice.
Yeah, that's a very good choice. I went with someone else. I went with Brad Pitt. I thought we also needed a movie star, right? An
Right.
action star. If
Mhm.
you've seen him in World War Z, or Inglorious Bastards, you know the action star that he is and how he can play those roles as a leader. Um, Inglorious Bastards, he's leading this group of Nazi killers on this crazy mission, which great movie. Go check it out because that movie's all sorts of awesome. But he plays that leader role, right? Which he's the leader of the Mission Impossible group. And it's the same thing in World War Z. He's playing this leader for his family in the apocalypse and more intimate because the whole group is essentially a family of sorts.
Yeah.
Once you get this far into the film, they are a family. So I think he could really play that aspect well. Gosh, I don't. If you've seen him, he can still do action. I know it's just a little bit, but in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But that scene with him going against
Manson family.
the Manson family, and sorry for spoilers, you should have seen the film.
Yeah.
Deal with it. And Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee, yeah.
I mean, he still got it. He still got it.
He's another one who's like 50 years old or something and still can like kick ass like the best of them.
Yeah. And
So
he's still like, I mean, you saw him Once Upon a Time in
yeah,
Hollywood in that scene. He's still jacked.
100%, 100%. I will
Um,
say before, I know we don't do the reviews of the cast till later, but I will just say this. Of all the films I was expecting you to say to support your Brad Pitt argument, World War Z was like the last one. I was fully expecting you to say bring up Once Upon a Time first. Or you like I was like World War Z. I was like, is he? I was like, I forgot he was like I forgot I forgot he was in that. I just wanted to say that because that was just the last film I was expecting to hear. But fair enough, fair enough.
hey, I'm a World War Z fan. What can I say? I'm a big
All
fan
good.
of the film. Um, Moving on, we have the villain in this role. And if you're like, oh my God, he spoils he's a villain, why are you watching a fan casting if you haven't watched the actual movie?
Yes. Yeah.
Yet again,
I'll watch the movie. It's worth
watch a
it.
movie. Your fault. So the villain, Henry Cavill, is the original villain in this film. Let's see if I can pull Walker, something Walker.
Like I think he's had the first name August Walker or something.
August Walker?
Walker.
Wait,
Yeah.
hold on. Oh, found it. August Walker. I had it on another tab.
Slowly
so
between you and me, we put it together.
there you go. So Henry Cavill plays August Walker as the villain. Who did you choose to play him?
This was actually my easiest because I was like, I'm scrolling through like action films on Letterboxd, and I see this one. And I'm like, oh my god. I was like, I think this could work. I decided to throw in Tom Hardy as the replacement because like Henry Cavill acts in this film. I think he puts on a relatively good performance, but a lot of the stuff August Walker does is primarily actions. The iconic part in the trailer where he like reloads his fist, the bathroom scene that was all Cavill, stuff in the final helicopter chase, or like this is very much an action driven role. And much like Tom Hardy as Max Rokoshansky in Mad Max Fury Road, he doesn't say a lot. A lot of it is just like just physicality and just like what he does like with his body, and even just like I'm thinking, what was the other film? Brian Helgeland's Legend, when he plays two criminal gangsters, Ronnie and Reggie Cray. Even in that film, there is this like dry like charisma, like a guy who's like no hard feelings. It's just the job, and but you also is like you walk into the room and you're like, I should probably like stand like just take two more feet away from him. Like he just has that like dangerous quality to the character. And I don't know if you've seen the show, but the show Peaky Blinders, he plays this gangster character, and he's always like in command of the situation. He's almost always utilized in a supporting role, but he's also for some just the vibe he gives off, he's in control of the situation. And I feel for that type of forcefulness, like that Hardy's able to give so effortlessly, he'd make a great August Walker.
That's a decent pick. So let me give you my pitch.
All
Let me
right.
give you my pitch, and I'll tell you why it's a better one. Chris Evans meets a mustache.
Chris Evans meets a mustache.
That's all you need. Put that mustache on him, and he is made for this film.
What is that miniseries he was just in?
Defending Jacob?
Yeah, he had a beard in that, right? But I just want to see this.
Yeah, so you're doing the inverse. No beard, just mustache.
No beard nose. Okay.
Just stash. Don't worry, it doesn't affect any reshoots, so it'll be all fine.
Right.
But I think he's perfect for this role. And there's the little meta-ness of like Captain America playing a villain that's hilarious.
Right.
And if you want to look at how that played out, because people may be questioning, well, like that would be kind of weird. If you watch the film, spoiler alert for Knives Out, he plays a villain, right? He plays the main villain. He's the bad guy. And he plays it spectacularly. He's great in that film. He brings that weight to a villain that's kind of hiding in the shadows the whole film and then sort of comes out at the end. So you already have that parallel. And you know he can do action because he's done like 8 Captain America films, and he doesn't do all of his stunts, right? Because obviously you can't do that. It's just not really possible for those films. But he's good with the stunt work. And I think it works on a meta level. It works on a film level itself as far as acting role. He's an American. Also, he's playing a CIA agent, so you don't have to worry about any possibilities with the accents. Not saying Tom Hardy can't, but I know that Chris Evans, a good Bostonian, shout out to our own, could definitely pull that off.
Fair enough.
Now, moving on, we're going to go to Ving Rhames. Hold on. Oh, Luther, who's his character's name. Who did you end up choosing for that role?
The thing about Luther is that he's kind of like mentor character-ish, so at least specifically towards Ethan. He's like one of the older members of the team. I think he's also been around. Ving Rhames has been around the franchise for a while now, alongside Tom Cruise. And I just wanted someone who can give off that like weathered energy, but who can still like keep up with everyone else, like has like that spirit still in him. I ultimately decided to go with current Oscar frontrunner for Best Actor, Delroy Lindo, because I think like just going off his performance from the Five Bloods, like he has this edge, he has the spirit. He's another like older guy compared to like some like Jonathan Majors in that movie who's like in his 20s. Like he has that older he has that older presence, but he can still like pack a punch both literally and like physically and like emotionally. He still has the spirit. He still has that bite, that edge. And I also feel like in a lot of the film's more quieter moments, he's able to bring this like hard-earned wisdom that think could fit Luther really well. And I think I don't know, I think Delroy would just be such a charismatic presence in the role of Luther.
He's definitely someone I thought about, but I think you brought out a role and a good point in fitting the role as a weathered character. So speaking of weathered characters, I decided Carl Weathers from The Mandalorian.
Well, good segue. I was like, I wonder where he's going with this. That's a great segue.
And I think he could be really great in this role. Now, I wanted someone who's a little bit more unknown, and I know you're saying, well, he was Creed, dude. He's really well known. That was, how long ago was that? I mean, he's older. There's more of a gravitas to him now. And I think he could play that role really well. He can do action well. I think he can be like a good supporting character. I mean, if you've watched The Mandalorian, he's a really, really good supporting character in that film. I can see him being the total package for this. I can see him having a fun, like his interactions with other characters is what makes him so much fun as an actor. And I think he could really ace this role. So we're going to move on to an actor who just seems to be in like every film.
Yeah, honestly.
It's been like in 2 or 3. Dude to your right, Simon Pegg. Who did you end up casting for him?
This one was a little trickier just because like Simon Pegg has like such a specific. He's the comedic relief, but he's not like total like a total like klutz or whatever. Like it's just more of a subtle like sarcastic like exasperated type of humor. And I was like, damn, that's hard to replicate. Just because I think like Simon Pegg he's also in the Star Trek films. Like he does so well in those. He's so charming in these like supporting roles. I decided to take a chance and I went with, sorry if I butcher his name, but Domhnall Gleeson from About Time, from the Star Wars sequels. He was in the one episode of Black Mirror with Haley Atwell. Yeah, with Haley Atwell as well. And he can be a dramatic role. I know it's not this one, but I know like scenes in the previous Mission Impossible, like Rogue Nation, he has a few more like serious, like intense moments. And I know from like Black Mirror, he can have that emotional aspect of him also in the film About Time, which he was within. That was 2013 with Rachel McAdams. And then if you also look at his Star Wars sequels, like that could be his like humor like resume right there. Like his character in that film, General Hux, is like is kind of very different from Benji, right? Benji
right.
Gunn in Mission Impossible. But I feel like they can hit kind of the more exasperated, like Benji's always trying to keep up with Ethan. Like he's always like, oh, he's on a building, he's on a plane. He's like, where's this guy? And then like General Hux is always like dealing with like Kylo Ren's BS and just like it's like they're always like just keeping up with someone. I think they would be really, really fun and energetic people that could just hit all the necessary parts of supporting role needs, like be that consistent, like thorough line, but also like show a few other sides of the character if need be.
So when I was choosing this role, I went with my go-to replace Simon Pegg guy. Because there's only really one guy I can think of, and that's Martin Freeman. I'm going to say it almost every time there's a Simon Pegg role.
That's Black Panther, right? That's Agent Agent Ross.
Ooh, yes. Ooh, is it Agent Ross?
Shoot.
Hold
okay,
hold
keep
on.
talking.
Figure that out while I go.
Yeah.
But what I think about him is that he plays the sidekick in Black Panther, right? He's the guy. Well, he's flying a futuristic plane, essentially fighter plane or jet, and he's the guy in the chair, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of like Shuri is, but in the third act of the film, he kind of plays a side role. He's the comedic relief. In that film, it's because he doesn't necessarily understand Wakandan culture, and he's like an outsider, and it's them laughing at him for being like not understanding. I think he could be a really good guy in the chair. I just picture it when I see guy in the chair. I'm like, Simon Pegg totally makes sense. Martin Freeman totally makes sense. For this role, it's the same kind of like offhanded one-liner humor, or like, oh wait, this is what you're supposed to do. Like, where are you? Like, what? And that like that sort of humor, I really like. I almost said peg on Martin Freeman. I just buy him in the role. It's the same kind of look also to the character.
Right, I got you.
And I think the look gives off the important vibe of someone who's not necessarily a physically threatening person. So that's why I would pick him for this role over Domhnall Gleeson, who, as much as I love him in some stuff, the way I don't think it's his fault, but the way he was used comedically in Star Wars as time went on rubbed me the wrong way.
Interesting. All right. And also, I just checked. Yes, his name is Ross. Everett Ross is his name.
Oh, I was wrong. I thought General Ross was the big general.
I got you. I think it is from Hulk, right? Is that what?
Yeah.
I think it is not related, but I think you're still right.
Oh, that's weird. Goes against like the one rule of creating characters to not name two people the same name. But anyways, moving on, we have the final character we're recasting, or fan casting, I should say. We're not recasting. We don't have any power. Rebecca Ferguson. And who did you end up choosing to play her?
Another tricky one, just because I think like Rebecca Ferguson like does great in this like role. Like she holds her own like quite well, both as an action person and both as just like a character against everyone else. I was kind of like back and forth on a few, but ultimately I decided to go with Matthew McConaughey's wife from The Gentleman. I went with Michelle Dockery. I think she has the like she's more than capable of hitting all the notes that Rebecca Ferguson is hitting. She has like the she has the edge. She has like the fierce Nate, like not fierce, that's not the right word, just like that she can handle self regardless of what is like who's in the room, what is happening. Like she'll be okay just because she has that like confidence, has that strength. And I feel like also I'm just remembering like the way she was used in The Gentleman, like her character wasn't one of the major ones like in play in that big gangster film, but like she was always like present. And I feel like that was a little similar to Rebecca Ferguson's character, because she spends like the first 2/3 of the film like as a wild card, as like this person on the peripheral, like not part of the bad guy, not part of like the bad guys, but not part of the team either. And wasn't until the third actually joined up with them. And I think Michelle Dockery would play so well off of everyone else, Ben Affleck and Delroy Lindo, and I think she would just be a very charismatic pick.
That's a solid pick. I mean, it's not quite as good as mine as usual, but second is the first loser, as they say. So I had a tough time. This was my hardest choice to make as far as an actress that fit this role perfectly. And I thought about people like Rachel Weisz, or Weiss. I don't know how it's pronounced. I think it's a German name. Felicity Jones was another person I thought about, but I ended up going with the one and only Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt. All right.
Hey, part of this is being able to do action. If you've seen her in Edge of Tomorrow, she can really do action well. If you've seen her in Sicario, she can really do action well. She can play all different types of characters. She also starred with someone else in this film, Tom Cruise, in Edge of Tomorrow, and they have the same sort of relationship where they're working together, but they're constantly in conflict. So I think that relationship between the two would really play out well, even though I'm choosing Brad Pitt as my option. I think her and Brad Pitt would really work out well as far as creating conflict, even with a common goal, or a shared personality or some sort of relationship from previous films. I think she could really do that well. She buys the action well. She's a fantastic actress. There's no denying that.
100%. 100%.
And she's Mary Poppins, y'all. So it can't get much better. I think she is the perfect person for this role.
Very interesting all around. Very interesting all around.
So with that, let's get into a quick review. Let's just run down who was your favorite and then who was your least favorite of my choices. I'll
All
run
right.
down mine first.
Okay.
I had Brad Pitt as Tom, replacing Tom Cruise, Chris Evans replacing Henry Cavill, Carl Weathers replacing Ving Rhames, and then I had Martin Freeman replacing Simon Pegg, and lastly, Emily Blunt replacing Rebecca Ferguson.
Okay. My favorite is. Oh, this is a tough one. I really enjoy Emily Blunt as I was about to say it's Michelle Dockery, but that's just 'cause that was my bad. I really enjoy Emily Blunt as Ilsa Faust, Rebecca Ferguson's character. That I really enjoy. That one's a great pick. I love Emily Blunt. She could totally pull it off. Least favorite. Mm, there's two. I think your Brad Pitt one is the one I'm like struggling to wrap my head around, just because like you brought up in Inglorious Bastards and like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I also feel like those were two different. And I haven't seen World War Z, unfortunately, but I do know like Inglorious and Once Upon a Time. Those two characters, Lieutenant Rain and Cliff Booth, are very different to Ethan Hunt. Like I feel like Ethan Hunt is a much more like quieter character, while like Lieutenant Rain is kind of like a little more over the top, and like Cliff Booth was this kind of like mellowed out persona. I guess that lines up a little better, but I don't know. I just feel like Brad Pitt's like usual like actors and like acting style. Like I love Brad Pitt, but I feel like it would just be a different. Ethan Hunt would become a different person under Brad Pitt's like acting. So that's the one I probably vibe with the least.
Fair
Um,
enough.
yeah, let me run through mine. Ben Affleck as Ethan Hunt, Tom Hardy as August Walker, Delroy Lindo as Ving Rhames, Domhnall Gleeson as Simon Pegg, and then Michelle Dockery as replacing Rebecca Ferguson.
All right, so going through those, Domhnall Gleeson, I don't know. I like him and other stuff, but
Right.
I just feel bad because I feel like I'm judging him too much off of Star Wars. But what they did with him, the jump from episode 7 being like this crazy cult, first order guy,
I got you.
to being the comedic humor, just like being comedic humor, not even being like a real character in episode 8 and 9, was frustrating to me, and it didn't feel like the humor hit well now. Hit well.
I got you.
And I didn't get the behind the chair idea. The guy behind the chair, which is what I felt like that role needed. But I do see where you're coming from, because he's a good actor if you see him in anything other than Star Wars.
I got you. Fair enough.
My favorite casting, I really like Delroy Lindo, but I don't know. I go back and forth. I had Ben Affleck on my list as well.
Okay, got you.
I think he fits it. Fits it really well. I think he can fit those quiet action moments really well. It's kind of a Batman thing. Batman isn't the biggest talker. He's more of a, do more, talk less type of guy. So I see what you're saying there. I mean, the only problem possibly would be his size. Like, Ethan Hunt. Well, he's like a small, compact dude, and one of the things is he's constantly overwhelmed by guys that are bigger than him. It's just like the James Bond thing.
Yeah. I got you. Ben Affleck's like a brawler, like
right.
Yeah, I got
Same
you.
thing with Brad Pitt, and I think the idea is that if you're fan casting this or recasting this, the role is supposed to be a little different to cater to the actors you have.
Yeah, fair enough. I get that.
And you can't tell me no one would want Ben Affleck. You mix ours two together, Batman going against Captain America in a film.
That'd be a hell of a film.
Who wouldn't buy tickets? But with that wraps up this episode of Fan Casting with Mission Impossible Fallout. Let us know what you thought about our casting in the comment section down below. Who was your favorite, least favorite? Did we miss someone who should have been cast in a role? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video, and we'll see you next time.
Peace out.